How many times have we been here, folks? On the precipice of a breakout, holding our breath, daring to believe that this time the prodigious talent we've been promised will finally ignite? For Atlanta Falcons fans, that question has been a constant companion when it comes to Kyle Pitts, the electrifying tight end whose journey has been a roller coaster of sky-high expectations and frustrating inconsistencies. Is this finally the moment where the unicorn truly arrives, shedding the shackles of underutilization and blossoming into the game-changing force we all know he could be? Or are we once again setting ourselves up for another season of tantalizing glimpses rather than sustained dominance? Welcome, Dirty Birds faithful, to a special edition of Falcons Today, where we're diving headfirst into the swirling vortex of Kyle Pitts' present and future. I'm Moose, your host, and I'll be the first to admit, after that frustrating Panthers game, I might have been a little overly emotional. I might have even gone so far as to declare Kyle Pitts just another body in this offense. And let me tell you, looking back at my own dumb face saying that, I realize I might have jumped the gun just a little bit. Sometimes, as fans, we get caught up in the heat of the moment, letting frustration cloud our judgment. But what I saw against the Washington Commanders, that, my friends, was a different story entirely. Pitts showed us flashes, not just of improvement, but of a player poised to unleash one of his best seasons yet in the red and black. But it's not just about the numbers on the stat sheet. It's about the trajectory, the subtle shifts in offensive philosophy, and the looming shadow of a contract decision that could define his career in Atlanta. We're going to dissect the stats, challenge the play calling, and peer into the crystal ball of the Falcons salary cap to understand exactly what's going on with Kyle Pitts, why I believe my initial harshness was misplaced, and what the strategic plan for him might be beyond 2025. This isn't just a report, it's an exploration of potential, a deep dive into the strategic chess match of the NFL, and a passionate plea for a talent to finally reach his zenith. Let's rewind for a moment. After a particularly disheartening performance against the Panthers, the air was thick with frustration. And in that moment, I, like many, allowed myself to be swept up in the tide of disappointment. I looked at Kyle Pitts, a player drafted with such immense hype, and saw a talent that felt stifled, underutilized, almost ordinary. To call him just another body was harsh, perhaps even unfair, but it stemmed from a place of wanting to see the extraordinary talent shine through. Then came the Washington Commanders game, and with it, a noticeable shift. It wasn't just a win, it was a performance that offered a tantalizing glimpse into what this Falcons offense, and specifically Kyle Pitts, could truly be. While the raw statistics, 20 catches, 205 yards, and 1 touchdown through 4 games, might still appear pedestrian-like to the casual observer, they tell only part of the story. What I witnessed was an upward trajectory, a burgeoning connection, and a more deliberate effort to integrate Pitts into the fabric of the offense. He's currently on pace for 872 receiving yards, a significant improvement, and his best start since his rookie season, where he famously racked up 68 catches for 1,026 yards. This isn't just a slight bump. It's a genuine indication that something is changing, that the gears are finally starting to mesh. This resurgence, however subtle, comes amidst a backdrop of fan frustration with the overall play calling from offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. Many have voiced their chagrin over what they perceive as a multitude of terrible games and conservative schemes. But here's where I believe the narrative might be shifting. The move down to the field, a more hands-on approach, might have been the catalyst not just for Robinson, but for the entire offense. The numbers might not be eye-popping yet, but they are undeniably pointing upwards for Kyle Pitts. It's a testament to his resilience, his unwavering commitment to his craft, and perhaps a sign that the Falcons are finally beginning to understand how to unleash their most unique offensive weapon. This isn't just about a player, it's about a team finding its identity, and Pitts is emerging as a crucial part of that evolving picture. While Kyle Pitts' recent performance offers a beacon of hope, the lingering question remains: are the Falcons truly maximizing his extraordinary talent? My firm belief, after dissecting the film and the analytics, is that they are still falling short. to truly unleash the unicorn, to allow him to stretch the field and become the dominant force he's capable of being, the offensive scheme needs a significant recalibration. Let's talk about the fundamentals. What is a young quarterback's best friend? It's the tight end. The tight end is supposed to be the ultimate safety blanket, a reliable target over the middle, a big body to throw to when the pocket collapses. For a quarterback like Michael Penix Jr., who only has 7 starts to his name, this connection should be paramount. Yet, the Falcons' offensive metrics paint a concerning picture. Their explosive play rate in 2025 stands at a paltry 4.2%, ranking them 25th in the NFL. What does that mean in plain English? It means they are not effectively moving the ball down the field. They are not creating those game-changing plays that turn a good offense into a great one. Now, credit where credit is due. Against the Washington Commanders, we did see a different game plan, what I like to call the bait and bomb style offense. It was a step in the right direction, a more aggressive approach that showed glimpses of what this unit could achieve. But even with that, a critical piece of the puzzle is still missing: play action. Tight ends are notoriously successful in play action schemes, drawing linebackers and safeties in before releasing downfield for big gains. Yet, Zach Robinson utilizes play action on a mere 9.5% of offensive snaps. That's almost dead last in the NFL, a staggering statistic that places them 31st overall. The only team using it less, I believe, is the New Orleans Saints, though I'd need to double-check those exact numbers. Regardless, 9.5% is simply not good enough. This glaring underutilization of play action, combined with the low explosive play rate, leads me to an undeniable conclusion. Zach Robinson is not using Kyle Pitts the right way. This isn't to say Pitts should be exclusively a hand-on-the-ground tight end involved only in play action. On the contrary, I love his versatility. You can line him up in the slot, out wide, or with his hand in the dirt. He's a matchup nightmare waiting to happen. But you have to find the correct play-calling scheme to maximize that versatility, to create the opportunities for him to truly shine. The Commanders' game showed us steps in the right direction, but the journey to fully unlocking Kyle Pitts is far from over. As Kyle Pitts continues to show flashes of his immense potential, another, equally significant, storyline is rapidly unfolding: his contract situation. After the Commanders' game, Pitts broke his silence on the matter, taking the high road with a maturity that speaks volumes. He stated that his contract extension is something that at the end of the year, I'll maybe think about talking about, deferring any immediate discussions about what he'll be asking for. This level-headed approach is commendable, especially given the drama that often surrounds contract talks in the NFL. Every player, understandably, wants their money. Every player wants to be the highest paid at their respective position. But here's where the hard truth comes in. Based on his productivity to date, I don't believe Kyle Pitts has earned the right to be the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. Heavy on Falcons recently weighed in on this, noting that the former Florida Gator is letting his play speak for him right now. Through 4 games, Pitts has accounted for 20 catches, 205 yards, and 1 touchdown, his best start since his rookie season. While his current pace for 872 yards is encouraging, it's still not the consistent, dominant production that warrants top-of-the-market money for a tight end. The most likely and perhaps most problematic scenario for the Falcons after the 2025 season is the franchise tag. Pitts is entering the final year of his rookie deal, and if the Falcons choose to tag him in 2026, they'll have to pay him approximately $16 million for that season. This presents a significant challenge. According to Over the Cap, the Falcons are projected to be $1.2 million over the cap in 2026, even with the league's team cap increasing to $295.5 million. This indicates a spending problem, as some might call it. However, General Manager Terry Fontenot is a shrewd operator. He could easily cut 2 to 3 players who aren't making a huge impact and save well over $1 million, bringing the team back into cap compliance. So, the issue isn't necessarily getting cap compliant. It's whether you want to pay Kyle Pitts that kind of outrageous money for a single season. At $16 million, He would become the fifth highest paid tight end in the NFL, surpassing Mark Andrews' $14 million and just shy of TJ Hawkinson, $16.5 million. While Pitts possesses talent on par with these players, the consistent on-field productivity simply hasn't translated to that level yet. The game hasn't fully clicked, and the expectations from where he was drafted haven't been consistently met. This isn't a knock on his ability, but a realistic assessment of his NFL output thus far. So, what are the realistic options for the Atlanta Falcons and Terry Fontenot regarding Kyle Pitts after the 2025 season? Based on the current landscape and Pitts' performance trajectory, there are essentially three paths forward, each with its own set of complexities and consequences. The first option is an extension. However, if the Falcons were to offer an extension based on his current production, it would likely be a shorter-term deal, perhaps 1 or 2 years. This is a highly unlikely scenario, as Pitts and his agent would undoubtedly be seeking the long-term security of a 3- or 4-year contract, commensurate with his draft status and perceived potential. A short-term deal offers little incentive for a player looking to maximize his earnings and secure his future. The second option, and the one we discussed, is the franchise tag. This would mean paying Pitts $16 million for the 2026 season. While it provides the Falcons with another year to evaluate his performance and potentially work out a long-term deal, it also forces them to make significant cap adjustments. As mentioned, they are projected to be over the cap, and while Fontenot can create space, it still ties up a substantial amount of money in a single player who hasn't consistently delivered elite-level production. My personal preference, if I were Terry Fontenot, would be to franchise tag Kyle Pitts. I'd want to see one more year, pay him a good amount in 2026, work on getting cap compliant, and essentially kick the can down the road a little bit. This allows for further evaluation, hoping that the upward trajectory we've seen continues and he truly breaks out. However, I also understand that this isn't how every player, agent, or even general manager operates. The desire for long-term security from the player's side is immense, and the strategic planning from the GM side often requires more definitive action. The third option, and the elephant in the room, is to trade Kyle Pitts. While I personally believe it's unlikely, especially if he continues to show improvement, it remains a viable option if the Falcons decide they cannot agree on an extension or if the franchise tag proves too cumbersome for their cap management. A trade would allow them to recoup assets and potentially address other roster needs. Ultimately, the jury is still out on what the Falcons will do with Kyle Pitts. It's a very unique situation, one that will be entirely dependent on how he plays for the remainder of the 2025 season. If Pitts absolutely kills it and has one of his best seasons, then, in my opinion, the Falcons would have no choice but to franchise tag him. His performance over these next few months will be the ultimate determinant of his future in Atlanta, shaping not only his career, but also the strategic direction of the Falcons franchise. So, as we stand at this critical juncture, the story of Kyle Pitts is a compelling blend of raw talent, strategic challenges, and the ever-present pressure of expectation. He is a player capable of truly special things, a unicorn whose potential still feels largely untapped. The recent glimpses of his resurgence against the Commanders offer a powerful reminder of what he can be, a beacon of hope for a Falcons offense striving for consistency and explosiveness. Yet, the path forward is fraught with complexities. The play calling must evolve to fully unlock his versatility, and the looming contract decision casts a long shadow over his future in Atlanta. Terry Fontenot faces a high-stakes chess match, balancing the desire to retain a generational talent with the pragmatic realities of salary cap management and roster construction. This isn't just about a player. It's about the identity of an offense, the strategic vision of a franchise, and the enduring hope of a fan base yearning for sustained success. The next few months will be pivotal, not just for Kyle Pitts, but for the entire Atlanta Falcons organization. Will he finally arrive, cementing his legacy as a Dirty Bird legend, or will his journey take him elsewhere? Only time and his performance on the field will tell. Now, it's your turn, Falcons Nation. After hearing all the insights, the stats, and the strategic dilemmas, what's your take on Kyle Pitts' future? Should the Falcons franchise tag him, giving him one more year to prove his worth and kick the can down the road? Or do you believe it's time to commit to a long-term extension, securing his place in Atlanta for years to come? Type T for tag or E for extend in the comment section below, and don't just stop there. Defend your answer, share your reasoning, and let's engage in some healthy banter here on Falcons Today. Your passion fuels this conversation. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 42,000 subs. And if you want to see more in-depth analysis and more out of Kyle Pitts, make sure to smash that like button. As always, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool.